Long while back, about 16 years old. Often have sleep paralysis. Experienced the shadow man and the girl in a white dress. Fearful experiences, and each time seems to be worse. Having a good day, but seem to get more tense and paranoid over nothing as it gets closer to bedtime. Night comes. The moon is in full display. It's like the entirety of the world outside my room is inverted. Dark as shit, but the moonlight is almost illuminating, as bright as the sun. Slants of moonlight beaming through blinds, leaving a pattern along my bed and a few feet in to the side of it. As I lay in bed, I get the oddest feeling of dread. Not necessarily a primal fear of danger, but more of a sickening feeling of inevitability, like knowing you're next for a class presentation. Fit head between two pillows. Half fan off beside dresser, full blast. Room is full of white noise, nice and cool, cozy under covers and pillows, lying on side curled up. This is usually what I do to avoid sleep paralysis. There's still a chance every time I sleep, but when I sleep like this, it's maybe a 1 in 10 chance. Uneasily drift to sleep. Wake up with that telltale numbness of paralysis. I feel heavy, weak. My fan is completely turned off. Already at this point, I'm terrified. I've never gone through sleep paralysis but thought the buzz of the fan to drown out the nightmarish cries that my mind would create in its state of panic. Have no clue why fan is off, but it's off now. And I managed to get on top of the pillows that I was safely nestled in when I first fell asleep. Only solace I have in the coming moments of terror is the blankets covering me up to my neck. Wait for what feels like minutes until I see something shuffle, or more like unfurl from the recess of my desk. Like a child, it looked like, in the darkness, it was balled up and watching me, with its feet planted in front of it, and its head and body in between its knees, with its hands rested atop of the legs, clasped together by the fingers. As it creeps out from under the desk, I watch it stretch its limbs out to a sprawl. It was of a large girth, but had gorilla-like limbs, arms long enough to touch its toes, without even as much as leaning over. As it moved away from the faint lights of my powered-off PC, I could see the moonlight pattern warp and ride over it as it drew close. Finally, it stopped right next to my bed, even more horrifying now than it was before. It was bear-like in frame, and covered in thick fur, though the area around its face was hairless. Its eyes were too recessed to even see where it began and ended in the dark. Its brow was protruding down into a grimace. Its mouth was twisted and gnarled and puckered shut, and it came out like a dog's snout. It sat down in the same childish way, big enough to kneel and still look down at me. At this point, I was too struck with sheer horror to even process fear. I was so inundated with processing what I was looking at. It was nothing like the other nightmarish entities. It felt alive, visceral, like it was actually there. Its blank eyes almost lit up when it craned its head down to my face. I could see those two predatory orbs stare through my skull from the darkness of its eye sockets. It made no noise, no breathing. The room was completely silent. It's like it was savoring the dead quiet, so it could focus in on the pounding of my heart and the hastening of my breathing. Its entire head seemed to jar and wobble as it opened its mouth to speak. Less like the fluid motion of speech, but violent muscle spasms causing this shadowy, pallid maw to come agape and snap shut. A calm but sinister voice croaked out at me. "She's a keeper. I pop them. I tidy them. Have they called? If you want it, it's yours. Count it. It's all there." Not necessarily to me every time. It's spoken broken sentences, non sequitur statements, often sometimes random bouts of whispering hurriedly of impending doom and disaster. For some reason, I can't even shut my eyes, it just keeps staring. Almost feel like my purchase of sanity is sleeping. It just keeps talking every now and then, never allowing respite from its gaze. Every now and then, it stops mumbling and gives me that macabre smile and grimace, and speaks more maddening, prophetic phrases. There's a situation there. Waking is only a compromise. All that you could end is now. Hear him? The mother is a victim of it, cowering and broken. Finally, feel some modicum of strength wash over me. Snap my eyes shut, try and calm myself and wish my mind out of it. At this point, I'm on the precipice of having a heart attack. Leave the man to his work. I'm comfortable here. Can almost feel it draw closer as I desperately keep my eyes shut, like a child hiding from imaginary creatures. Its final words stick with me much more than anything else for some reason. Like this time, it was truly talking clearly towards me. The reality of it all would be much worse. Hear the buzz of the fans come back in. Slowly begin to open my eyes. Nothing is in the room. Nearly morning time, 5 a.m. Jump out of bed, walk outside in a t-shirt and shorts in 40-degree weather. Walk aimlessly until maybe 11 in the morning, completely dazed. Come home after a while and continue on living in fear. Haven't seen it in 6 years since then, but I'll never forget its face or its words. Even if I don't remember everything I said, it's in there, somewhere, back in my head. Of inevitability, of being inevitable, of inevitable, inevitability, 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 of inevitability, of inevitability, like knowing you're next for a class presentation,